Hmm.
It's locked.
Vale.
You must be very angry about this unfair situation. I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife.
It's locked, all right.
That might help.
Vale, quiero hablar con este hombre. Pero no me deja pasar. A ver. Tengo preguntas.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
¿Cree en la vida después de la muerte?
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think
Yeah.
you would enjoy immortality?
I don't think so.
Ajá. Vale, o sea que nada. Preguntas personales. No. Su vida en Londres. Tampoco. Vamos a ver. Es que juraría que tenía algo.
Do you work?
Yes?
Vale. Ah, por cierto, a cuadrado te saltas las conversaciones.
Yes, sir.
No, pues parece que no.
Goodbye, Mr. Jhon.
He conseguido averiguar cómo hacer esto, cómo... Por aquí hemos estado... Cómo conseguir más materiales a pesar de que solamente había uno en la morgue. Ahora puedo hacer ahora puedo hacer lo que necesitaba hacer. ¿Qué tal?
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Preguntas personales. Cuéntenme.
Tell me what Dr. Tippett did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett would have been fired from this hospital. I could
Yeah.
not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannigan.
Look
Ya,
around you,
pero-
Dr. Reed. Do you
Claro.
really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippett's in our situation?
Entiendo lo que hizo. Vale. Esta vez sí, entiendo lo que
I
hizo.
can't
Lo que
say
hizo.
I approve of what you did. But as a field surgeon, I know that some situations require you to bend the rules.
I'm not proud of what I've done, but to contain the epidemic must be our priority, so we can't afford to lose Dr. Tippett's.
Vale. No parece haber nada más que podamos hacer.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Vale. Y aquí está uno de los nuevos miembros. Ah, por cierto, sed bienvenidos a un nuevo vídeo de Vampyr. Yo soy Magister Magus y estamos explorando todavía. ¿Qué
Good
tal,
evening,
padre?
Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, Sora, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion make me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
Vale. ¿Y qué tal su vida en Londres? Tom Watts, ¿qué me puede contar?
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Mira, esto nos puede ayudar.
Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Vale, o sea que es... A ver, desesperación.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise?
Bueno, también
Authorities
el
have left
virus,
us all
lo
to
entiendo.
rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
En serio, esto se parece un montón a la situación actual. No sé por qué estoy jugando este juego.
Who should I avoid in this part of town then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really.
Vale.
Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Vale, perfecto. Pues ya... ¿Cómo acabó la
How did you
guarida
end
de
up
Bishop?
in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
¿Es usted un héroe o muy
You
estúpido?
dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr.
Ah,
Reed.
claro. Es un
William
hombre de...
Bishop
No
was
solo es un hombre de
conflicted
la
soul,
cruz,
searching
también
for
es
life.
un hombre majete. O sea que, por supuesto, quiere ayudar a sus amigos.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
Ah, no, pero Horcroft creo que no...
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers trade union.
Oh, claro.
The wet boot boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
¿Quién dirige ahora la
Who
banda?
leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
¿Y te han amenazado?
Has the gang been...
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Ah, perfecto, entonces estás a salvo. Preguntas personales. Ah, ¿qué tal?
How do you feel?
Eso no sé si es personal o es más
Medically
educación.
speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness.
Sí, necesitas un tiempo para descansar,
Empty.
para recuperar
hands
sangre.
here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir.
Vale, ¿y a qué te
What do you do
dedicas?
for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't
¿Eres
help
cura
but
o
notice the
eres...?
cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr.
Esto es lo que dudo.
A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Ah, genial. O sea que es un hombre de fe. ¿Por qué no utilizo
Why
la
didn't
cruz?
you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no
Si tú
magical token, if
supieses.
that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Si tú supieses.
Have you made friends?
¿Has
since
entablado
you
amistad con
arrived?
alguien?
Not really. But I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process.
Claro, claro.
We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
Qué triste.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton.
Vale, ahora que hemos tenido una charla con este hombre,
It's locked.
quisiera enseñaros a este hombre. Que este hombre sí que tiene una historia curiosa. Resulta que leí sobre él y perdió...
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Perdió un cacho de cara. ¿Qué pasó?
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Why
¿Y por qué la
lie
mentira?
about
¿Por la
it?
vergüenza de...?
It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have
Claro.
happened to anybody.
No puede esconderse para siempre aquí.
You know you can't hide forever. One day you'll have to face your loved ones. Until that day, you have no chance of real recovery.
My
Claro.
friends all died in the trenches. It's shameful enough to be alive with these stupid scars. I don't want my children to see me like this.
No, 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 no. Tus hijos te van a querer pase lo que pase. Aunque hayas perdido la mitad de la cara. Su vida en Londres, el verdadero motivo de su herida. Háblame de su familia.
You told me before you don't want your children to see you like this. Do you have any other family?
My sister Agatha has raised my nippers since their mother died.
Pues
Don't
que
want them
vengan
to look
a...
at me like this.
Tus hijos te
How
quieren.
could children despise their father injured in the war?
What do you think? They saw me once. My poor angels left the room crying. They keep on having nightmares every week, my sister told me.
Pues tu hermana
Your sister's
te
not a
respeta.
child. I'm sure she has nothing but respect for a wounded soldier, and you are her brother.
You don't know my sister Agatha. She may be young, but she's all discipline and morality. If she ever found out what really happened,
She doesn't have to know.
she's a sly one, my sister. One day she'll find
Hombre,
out the
si te
truth.
estás ocultando todo el
7
tiempo,
bells
por
out for
supuesto que va...
me. Nah, I'm better off here.
Y sobre la
How
enfermedad.
close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may
Ajá.
hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside.
Oh.
But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
Oh. No voy a decirle que tiene una... Bueno, sí. En algún momento le tendré que decir que tiene una enfermedad mental, pero creo que le da igual. La deja que le
So
muerda.
do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of my blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide
Ah,
to
sigue
bite
teniendo
less
dolores fantasma.
willing patients.
And it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
Buen punto.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome.
Síndrome de
She truly
Cotard,
believes
sí,
she's a
pero...
vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world.
Sí, la verdad es
It
que sí.
seems much more fun than the real
Es
one.
mejor suena mejor vivir en un mundo de fantasía que en el mundo
Goodbye for
real.
now, Mr. Elwood.
Disgust on every street corner.
¿Qué tal?
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Thomas Elwood.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached
Que a lo
to
mejor
Mr. Elwood?
empieza a haber aquí una
Why
historia de amor.
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I
Ah,
find interesting.
es perturbador, es muy perturbador, pero a la vez es muy bonito. ¿Te vas a transformar?
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
No, no, si
Would you say
habéis pensado en... Sí,
romantically
eso, lo que está
No.
diciendo.
No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
No. Escucha. Escucha bien. Mi vida en Londres. A ver,
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark.
te dejaré en la oscuridad.
Activities.
Pero la oscuridad es
But
muy
the suffering
solitaria.
continues.
Yo soy un... Bueno, no, soy un doctor. Por eso lo
Good
sé.
evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening.
Vida en Londres. El verdadero motivo de su herida.
Why do you feel?
I wasn't.
¿Qué
Tell
ocurrió?
me what really
¿Qué pasó?
I went with a.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached us.
Vale, preguntas personales. Vale.
Goodbye for...
disgust
Bueno.
on every street corner.
Vamos a... Hemos hablado bastante, hemos descubierto historias de amor, crímenes perfectos. Lo que vamos a hacer es crear esa medicina, ir a entregar el... Ir a entregar la cartera que nos falta por entregar. Uno para el agotamiento, ¿no? Nos tomamos aquí. Vamos a mejorar algo. Este, por ejemplo. Nivel 7. Tengo coagulación. El vampiro concentra la sangre de la presa y la paraliza. Ah, eso podría estar bien en algún momento. Una lanza sanguinaria a lo mejor. Ah, no llego. Ah, no llego. No, no quiero cancelar. Vamos a confirmar. Y en la siguiente ya conseguimos esa lanza.
I cannot enter.
Bueno, pues mientras esperamos vamos a entrar... Vamos a devolver esa cartera. Coleccionables... Hospital, aprende a vivir entre los mortales. Medicina para el agotamiento. Buena calidad de sangre de un montón de gente. Ah, Pipa, tenemos que entregarle a Pipa, tenemos que hablar con Tippets. Hemos matado a Clay Fox. Es de Dorothy Crane. Investigaciones locales. Señor Tippets. ¿O no? No eres Tippets.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival,
Vale.
but I could not dare to believe.
O sea que este es un fan.
Fortune.
¿Qué tal?
Such a... Thank you. And you are? I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm
Thoreau
a great admirer of your
Strickland.
work, Dr. Reed.
Vale, cuéntame. Háblame de
Could you
ti.
tell me? I'm a great admirer of your work concerning
Ya
blood
veo.
transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
Háblame de los experimentos, a ver si eso es ético.
I based my technique
Porque he
on
visto
my
de todo
mentor's
aquí.
research. I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories at first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful. As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail. You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
¿Qué le hizo decantarse por este itinerario?
What made you choose to be a doctor? I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Ya, ya. Pues mira, gracias.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only
Supongo que
ones able
sí.
to defeat it.
Aparte de los conflictos militares que hay
What can you
aquí.
tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
Ya, ya. Pareces optimista.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare.
Este hombre seguro que, conociendo este juego, seguro que hace
I'm convinced
experimentos
that this
súper
epidemic
chungos.
is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True.
Claro, claro.
Last summer, during the first wave,
Ah, que ha habido más de una
I
oleada.
joked with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Ya. O sea que también hubo bastantes oleadas durante la gripe española. Espero que la historia no se repita.
Do you need help with anything?
¿Algo en particular?
Yes, maybe.
Do you want me to?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by. if I
Vale.
have time.
Y preguntas personales. Técnicas de transfusión de
Tell me
sangre.
more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove
Claro.
your point?
Es que este tío se le ha
I
subido.
want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Ah. Vale, debe ser
This
imparcial aún así.
personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must
Claro.
remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Claro, pero eso es un problema. Si no te involucras, bueno, si te involucras puedes poner en riesgo tu... Vas a estar buscando algo que no está ahí, no te vas a concentrar y eso va a ser un problema.
Tell
Cuéntame
me
la
Mr.
historia.
Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own
Claro.
negligence.
Hasta luego.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Señorita Crane.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find anything of value?
Yes, nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls. When the storm
Vale.
has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing.
Vale. Las enfermedades empeoran la calidad de la sangre, vale.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Por ahora bien. Pero ya ha hablado de su llegada, ¿no?
Tell me more.
The ambulance driver was quite rude.
What do you
Vale,
need?
esto ya nos lo contó. A ver, preguntas personales. Nada, ¿verdad?
Goodbye, Mrs. Gold.
Pues adiosito. Sí, sí. Que proporciona experiencia, pero es que quiero saber.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet.
Pippa Hawkins,
My
¿no?
name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
Vale, preguntas personales. ¿Abandona el hospital?
Are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end,
No, si estás ayudando un montón. Toda ayuda es poca.
I want more. I want to make things change.
Toda ayuda es valiosa. Los pacientes la necesitan.
But you're doing something important here. For all the patients who need your help.
We save lives, sure. Each time we send a cured patient home, it's a relief beyond words. But since the epidemic, I feel so powerless.
Bueno, pues como todos. Pues mira en Londres. ¿Cómo está la
How would you
situación aquí?
describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Bueno. A ver, snap out of it.
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Eso.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Sí, la verdad es que la epidemia está golpeando sobre todo a la gente que trabaja en el sector de la medicina y de la salud. Se acabará,
Miss
no te
Hawkins, the
preocupes.
Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse?
Vale, ¿cómo puede ir a peor?
What if in the end, nobody was spared?
Eso sería trágico, la verdad. Pero va a escapar gente. Va a escapar un montón de gente. Si todos ponemos nuestro granito de arena, sé que suena como la charla de un político, pero en este caso creo que es verdad. Si todos colaboramos, podemos acabar con el virus.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
Deberías cambiar la
I
actitud.
don't like your attitude, Nurse Hawkins. Pessimism can be as
Claro,
lethal
en este
as the
momento
epidemic in
el
times
pesimismo
like
puede
these.
ser tan mortífero como la epidemia.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
¿Y cómo lo lleva el equipo?
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
¿Por qué están gruñendo? A
Why
ver.
is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether
Ay,
he
madre
deserved
mía.
it or not.
¿Y por qué los médicos
Why
en
does
concreto?
Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Vale, subida en Londres. Vale.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Doc.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Vale, un segundito.
Please, Jonathan, come in.
Ah, sí, yo estoy aquí partiéndome el culo y tú estás ahí con una calaverita.
Is it not?
Claro
In
que
the
sí.
last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death.
Claro.
You, my friend, have a foot in both countries.
Ya,
The
ya.
view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous
Pero tú
as
estás
chatting
aquí
about
viendo una
vampires with
calaverita
you, I
mientras
would
yo hago
say.
todo el trabajo.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization.
Claro.
Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's
Ya,
most
tú estás
eminent
disfrutando de
specialist in
todo
blood
esto.
transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
Soy una paradoja viviente.
There
Es
is
que es
an
verdad.
absurd poetry to my situation. Physician, heal thyself.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
Ya, ya. No hay nada de por lo que disculparse, venga.
Edgar. You offered me sanctuary when I had none.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Vale.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you
Vale,
could help
necesitas
her
que vaya a
out-
ayudarla, ¿no?
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
O sea, que quieres que me cargue
And you would like
información.
me to eradicate this threat.
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Vale, o sea, como todo el mundo a mi
I'll see
alrededor.
what kind of trouble
Porque
Lady Ashbury
para
is in.
mí, teniendo super fuerza y pudiendo regenerarme, todo el mundo es delicado. Amor disfrazado de hospital. Ya, ya. A ver. Mi teoría es que...
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Vale. He encontrado tu cartera, tío.
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
No,
Not
no,
at
no.
all, Milton.
Good. Please.
Dice, me temo que no.
To remind
Entonces
you
algo
to
le
keep your
molesta.
mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
Ah, también tiene... Vale, hagamos un
I'd like
trato.
to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Vale, ¿qué tienes? Aparte de una buena escopeta. Materiales. Venga. Pues hasta luego. Ah. Está ahí, pues vamos a hablar con ella, sí. Me parece que este episodio tampoco va a ser de combate.
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr.
No,
Reed,
si tengo algo yo que
there's
decir.
No way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now
Ay,
do me
madre
a
mía.
kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet lady of mercy.
¿Qué tal?
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's
Qué
a
ojos
pleasure
más
to see you
bonitos,
again.
Verdes completamente.
You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a vamp. The lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Ya, pero no hables en voz alta que nos están dando caza, no sé si te enteras.
My name is Lady Ashbury.
Lady
I
Ashbury.
remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Me alegro de verla.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you.
The pleasure is mine, Doctor.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have
Sí, porque ahora tengo un
questions,
montón de cosas que...
but a rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
¿Y quieres que vaya a cazarles? ¿Ha causado problemas a algún paciente?
These poor souls have so little left to live for. I do my best to ease their pain.
Vale. Sí, tiene sentido.
You make me blush. I am simply
No sé si te puedes ruborizar porque técnicamente ya estás muerta, o sea que... Bueno, preguntas sobre los vampiros. Ahora quiero sacar un montón de información de aquí porque quiero saber qué habilidades tienen, qué no.
I'm a scientist. My trade is in the deciphering of mysteries, and I need information to feed my mind.
I will gladly answer every question you have, but first, prove yourself capable of resolving my predicament without eating the culprit.
No prometo nada, pero ya ha dicho una cosa que me ha dado una pista. Neófito. Neo es nuevo, o sea que... sí, que soy un nuevo vampiro, pero fito es de... Creo que es de hacer. Creo que es del verbo hacer. Por lo tanto, los vampiros se crean. Bueno, también se podría utilizar neonato, pero... No me ha dado nada, entonces vengo a ayudarla, sí.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of
extorsión, ¿no?
I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
¿Qué quiere
What
de
are
mí?
your expectations? Please be precise.
As the newly appointed surgeon of this hospital, you are in an excellent position to ask innocent questions and deftly learn the identity of my blackmailer.
Oh. ¿Es un vampiro que la amenaza?
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit.
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient or their family.
Vale, pues vamos allá.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Me haré cargo.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
Venga, ¿dónde
If that
empiezo?
was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr.
Perfecto.
Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
Vale, perfecto. Tenemos que investigar entonces. Creo que vamos a dejar este episodio aquí. Sé que no hemos tenido... esto quiero verlo.
My blood and soul, they belong to you now.
The life running in your veins.
Vale. Entendido. Lo que vamos a hacer es dejarlo aquí. Espero que os haya gustado el vídeo. Si os ha gustado, dadle a like, suscribiros y nos vemos en el siguiente vídeo.